Hosting provided by PCRWebSolutions.com and sponsored by PCR Tech. This week featuring great new Windows 7 PCs without the bloatware. Designed with you in mind. Visit PCRTech.com and click Store for more information. Welcome back, everyone, to another ripping edition of the PCR Tech News Podcast, your latest tech news with no apologies. I'm Troy King from PCR Tech, and this is episode 38, aired on January 8th, 2010. PCR Tech News. Madness takes its toll. Please have exact change. At this year's Consumer Electronics Show, Ford CEO Alan Mulally delivered his keynote, saying that Ford was going to be focusing on giving people access to smartphones in their car and also fuel efficiency. While fuel efficiency is a wonderful thing, this is a tech show, so let's go back to the smartphone bit. They will be using Sync's voice activation features to control a built-in cell phone interface called the My Ford Touch. It's going to be built right into the dash. It's an 8-inch screen, and you'll be able to use it for entertainment, telephony, climate control, navigation, the whole works. You'll be able to download MapQuest directions directly to your car through Ford's information delivery services, Bluetooth access to read your text messages, and you can reply with a set of 15 voice-activated commands. You'll also be able to do streaming media applications such as Pandora and Stitcher, along with Twitter and probably Facebook. Of course, they'll be in the bill. So, they're really providing a wealth of stuff you can do in the car while driving, but shouldn't you be driving? I mean, it's great to have Pandora and whatnot in there. It's fine. I mean, it's like a radio, except it's internet-based. Great. But Twitter, you really need to be worrying about Twitter while you're driving. It's just like there's too much. You know, we're trying to cut back on, not using the cell phone while you're driving, especially don't be texting while you're driving. It's distracting, especially up here in the Midwest. People seem to have a hard time staying on the road when there's a bit of snow on the ground, much less checking their Twitter messages and whatnot. Now, when they say that you can reply with a set of 15 voice-activated commands, maybe there's some preset deals like, hey, I'll talk to you later, that you can reply back to. That would be okay, but as long as people keep their eyes on the road and their minds focused on driving and not too worried about the My Ford Touch and what their built-in cell phone's doing, it's all about responsibility. So I certainly hope that this goes well and doesn't cause a lot of disaster. Microsoft has announced that Project Natal will be released for the holidays of 2010. There's no exact date released yet, but I'm thinking probably November, December at the latest, that you'll be able to get Project Natal for your Xbox 360. And the price hasn't been confirmed yet. I've heard it'll be about $50. Other sources say it'll be under $100, but either way it's going to be wickedly affordable and hopefully wickedly cool. Google has unveiled the new Nexus 1 for, so far, just T-Mobile. The Nexus 1 is their newest Android-based smartphone, running the 2.1 Eclair operating system. The phone features a 3.7-inch screen, a 1 GHz CPU, 5 megapixel camera with flash, the typical GPS and Wi-Fi. This phone is made by HTC, so I'm really surprised it has a 3.5mm headphone jack. For some reason, HTC just has an aversion to common sense. Anyways, that aside, it will come with a 4GB SD card, or micro SD card, with support for up to 32 gigs. The phone has haptic feedback, uses a trackball, and has no physical keyboard, so it's really thin. The phone, by itself, without a contract, unlocked, is $529. You can get it with a 2-year contract through T-Mobile for $179. For Verizon, it's coming soon, but it's not available yet. And over in the UK, it will be available on Vodafone, on their network. Now, the interesting thing is that if you buy the Nexus 1 unlocked for the $529, they say that you can use it on AT&T's network, but you won't get the 3G service. It doesn't operate on their frequencies. And this version of the phone does not have CDMA support, so you can't use it for Verizon or Sprint. But the Verizon version is coming, so have no fear, Verizon users. But the phone is very similar to the Droid, except a better processor and no keyboard. So otherwise, it promises to be a very good phone. But I'm still pretty happy with my Click, and supposedly towards the end of this month, I should get my 2.1 update. So here's hoping for that one. Intel has announced the release of the i5 and i3 CPUs, which are basically mainstream versions of the i7 processors. The new i5s and i3s, they have 20% more pixel shaders and better graphic performance. They have also released some new i7 models which will support triple channel memory, which some gamers might really enjoy it, but when you start having to buy 3 sticks of RAM all at once, you can't just upgrade 1 or 2 with triple channel memory. If you want all the benefit, you have to upgrade all 3. So don't bother upgrading, get the most right off the bat. Just max it out as much as you possibly can. So it's going to be higher costs up front because it's going to be DDR3. But just so weird. Triple channel memory. I'm thinking you're probably only going to have 3 RAM slots in there. You're not going to have 6, because that would just be... How are you going to fit that on a motherboard? That's not enough space for all that. So I don't know about that one. But the i5 and i3s are supposed to be pretty good, better graphics wise, and they still use the dual channel memory, so have no fear. France-based Parrot has released the augmented reality gaming quadricopter, which is controlled by your iPhone or iPod Touch. There are cameras on the helicopter that send video over Wi-Fi back to your iPhone, so you can control it, and when you're playing against another player or against a computer, it'll show you, guns and rockets and stuff on your iPhone. Of course, you're not actually shooting anything, but the drone is pretty cool. Its main body is surrounded by 4 blades that spin and give it the ability to hover or fly around or do whatever. And it really is some neat technology there. On one of the videos, you can see the drone fly out through a window, and then on its way back in, it smacks the side of the windowsill, but keeps on going. I was pretty impressed with that. You can have either the blades be exposed, which I'd be rather afraid of having it come towards my throat, but you can put an alternate body on it that puts a protective plastic shielding around each of the blades, so if you're in your home and you don't want to end up slicing the cat up, you can put the protective body on and fly around and knock into stuff, and you probably won't damage more than the vase. I can see a lot of cool military applications with this, because instead of having someone controlling a drone back at home base and you have to radio back, hey, attack this point, you can just do it yourself over Wi-Fi by having an iPhone or iPod Touch, whatever they give you. I'm sure they'll develop it for some military-grade application. And you can control the drone from the ground, and I'm sure they can probably already do that. I don't know. I'm not in the military. But it seems very versatile, so it's pretty neat. So head over to slashgear.com and check out the videos for sure. The first USB 3.0 certified devices are finally appearing on the market, and they're coming from manufacturers like Asus, Gigabyte, and HP. However, where is Intel's LightPeak? LightPeak is a fiber optic technology that's similar to USB 3.0, except that its bandwidth capabilities are much, much higher. USB 3's transfer rate is 5 gigabits per second, compared to LightPeak's 10 gigabits per second, and Intel claims that within the next decade it could reach 100 gigabits per second, which is absolutely nuts. And the cool thing about LightPeak is that it can be applied to use on monitors, keyboards, mice, phones, everything. You could have just LightPeak cables that connect all of your computer components without having to worry about bent pins and various things. It's all digital, all wonderful. So I'm really curious as to how 3.0 is going to compare against LightPeak and who's going to win out in the end, because USB's been around